Hi, I'm Michael Jans. I've been delivering insurance marketing strategies to the independent insurance agent for 25 years, so it's not unlikely that you know me, maybe have met me. Maybe you know me from when I was the founder and CEO of Insurance Profit Systems and the Quantum Club coaching program, which, when I sold it, was the largest marketing training company in the insurance industry. Or maybe you know me from when I was the co-founder and CEO of Agency Revolution, which, when I sold it to a private equity firm, was, and I'm proud to say still is, the leading marketing automation software platform for independent insurance agents. Or maybe you've seen me on stage. I've keynoted for national Big I, PIA, regionals throughout the United States and Canada. I've trained for the user groups for Vertafore, Applied Systems, Hawksoft, and then I've been on stage and trained for great insurance companies that we all know, like Travelers, Safeco, Aviva, Westfield, and numerous regional carriers throughout the United States. And I'm going to guess that you've been in the insurance industry for a while. You probably love this industry like so many people do. You probably love your clients. You probably really care about your team. And I know that you really want to succeed. And my guess is, like a lot of agents today, you look around the industry and perhaps from time to time, you've said, wow, things have really changed. Or maybe you've had a private nagging doubt that things are changing faster than you're able to keep up with. Let me ask if this describes you. When most clients come to me, when most of my clients come to me, they kind of fit in one of two buckets. One, maybe the slightly older crowd, 50 and up, and they might be a little bit uncomfortable with the pace of change right now. They might be a little bit uncomfortable with all of the new technologies, but they really want to succeed, as perhaps they have for the last couple of decades, and they want a clear path and plan to success. And then there's the other bucket, maybe a little younger than that, under 50, maybe under 40, and oftentimes even under 30. And they're perhaps more comfortable with the pace of change. Maybe they're very comfortable with the new technologies, but they're also smart enough to realize that in times of turbulence and lots of change, you want a clear strategy that helps you navigate your way to success. For the last several years, I have prepared a State of the Industry report. I've delivered it on stage, I've delivered it in live webinars, and I've delivered it in publication. And I want to tell you a very brief story about why this report this year is radically different than anything I have ever developed or published before. For the last year and a half, I've had the great privilege of being the host of the Connected Insurance podcast, in which I get this great privilege of interviewing the innovators, geniuses, movers, and shakers who are actually guiding and creating the future of the industry. And every single week, 24,000 insurance professionals get notified about my latest conversation. I had the opportunity to reflect on a year and a half of having all of those conversations with all of those people from every walk of the insurance industry that you can think of. InsurTech startups, carrier executives, vendor executives, super successful agents and brokers, really people who understand this industry very, very deeply. And I couldn't help but notice there's a theme. There's a theme to every one of those conversations, week after week after week. Can you guess what that theme is? That theme is change. What they are telling me is the same thing that I'm observing right now. This industry is changing very, very fast. So I took all of that information. I reviewed the transcripts of all of those weekly conversations as I prepared my State of the Industry report for this year. I also gathered all the information that I possibly could from the research and consulting firms that advise this industry. McKinsey and Bain, Price Waterhouse, Ernst Young, Forrester, and more. And I also, of course, assessed my own field research. I listened to what my clients were saying. I listened to what members of our mastermind group were saying. I listened to what I was hearing from the staff at Agency Revolution, who's in touch with thousands of agencies and has thousands of conversations. And indeed, it confirmed exactly what I was hearing in the podcast, which is, this is the time of change. When I originally published this report, when I finished my first draft, I gave it a one-word title, Watershed. I changed the name of the title because I realized some people don't know what a watershed is. When a storm happens and it hits like the top of a mountain or a watershed, all of the water goes to either one side of the mountain or the other. Now, we've seen a lot of industries in the last 10 years, they've had their watershed moments, and so they have radically changed. But the insurance industry's been relatively stable, pretty much status quo. But industry observers are saying right now that now we're having that watershed moment. And so now we're determining, at this point in time, this is the point that determines what's before and what's after. This is the point in time that separates, unfortunately, the losers who hold on to the way things used to be done and the winners who are embracing the strategies of the future and the strategies that are really working right now. I certainly can't blame you if you look around the industry right now and you feel a little bit concerned, perhaps a little bit confused, maybe a little dizzy about the change. If you look at the massive change in consumer behavior and the different ways that they relate to the insurance industry and the different ways that they relate to commerce in general. If you look at the massive influx of 83 million millennials and the different values and the different behaviors that they have. If you look at the massive new technologies, if you look at the massive $10 billion of investment into the insurtech industry that's attempting to change, innovate, and in some ways disrupt this industry, or just the pace of change itself is enough to make a lot of agents dizzy and maybe even worried about their future. But I have really, really good news that now, it's really because of many of those changes. Now, for those who are willing to embrace a new way of doing business, now is the best time to be an insurance agent that there ever was. My own private clients are growing at a rate of 25 to 40% and even more, and that's possible. And you may ask, why is that? Why is it possible that some agents can be so successful and grow at a very fast pace while other agents are growing slowly, they're remaining flat, maybe having that. The average agency right now is growing at about 4.5%. It's a terrible signal for that part of the agency, that part of the industry. What's the difference? And the difference is this: the same forces that are impacting the industry and hurting so many agents and holding them back, if you can learn to harness those forces and use them for you, they will lift you and they will allow you to multiply your growth. And the good news, the beauty is that if you can flip that switch and use those forces for you, then as it is with my own private clients, your business will come to you. Your clients will come to you and they will stay with you longer. They will buy more insurance from you and they will refer their friends and colleagues to you. I have more good news, is that not only have I published a report here, which is available to you for free, in which I analyze the 4 major forces that every insurance agent must know, must understand, plus 2 that I believe every agent has to keep on their watch list just in case we need to begin to prepare for those forces as well. But in part 2 of this report, I also deliver to you a 9-step action plan. It's the same action plan that I deliver to my own private clients. And so it's because of that part of this report, part 2, that I can say that I am completely confident that you can be completely confident. Confident that you can grow at a pace that you want to grow, confident that you can lead your team to success, confident that you can have an agency that you can be proud of, and confident that you can have an agency that can give you more freedom and less worry. Now, I understand that you might listen to what I'm saying right now, and you may say, all right, Michael, I see where you're coming from, but things are okay for me. We're growing, and I'm just comfortable the way it is. And I think that's good. I think that's okay. What I discover about most of those agents is often those are the very ones. The ones who are growing, they want every extra edge, and I can give it to you in this report. But also I want to issue a word of caution, and that caution is, I know that today can feel a lot like yesterday, and yesterday can feel like the day before, and we can kind of click through the weeks and the months and the years, and at some point, I don't want you to look around, wake up and realize that you're so far behind that you can't catch up. I also realize some agents might look at this and say, all right, Michael, I get it. I know things are changing, but I'm too busy right now. I can't deal with it. The good news that I want to share with those agents is that the new strategies where you can use these forces to your advantage instead of having them hurt you, they'll allow you to grow in multiples. And so you can have an agency where you are less busy with more growth. And I know that some agents might say, okay, Michael has, in the past, I've been selling some digital marketing solutions. I founded a software company. I'm not doing that in this report. I will speak, I think, very succinctly in the report about which technologies you should use, perhaps which ones might be wasting your time, but I'm not selling anything. And so I don't want you to feel like that this is not a sales letter. This is a comprehensive state of the industry report in which I share with you my best assessment about what's happening in the industry right now and what you absolutely need to pay attention to. And I also understand some people might feel tired of the marketing gurus saying, grab this shiny new thing or this shiny new thing, and frankly, I'm tired of that as well. And I caution in this report against grabbing a shiny new thing. What I do encourage in this report is a clear-eyed, sober understanding of what's happening in the industry and exactly what the strategic response should be to each of the forces that are affecting your agency right now and definitely will be affecting you in the next 6 to 12 months. So you might ask, all right, if this information is so great, why am I giving it away? That's a very fair question, and you deserve an honest answer, and so I have two answers to that. Number one, after I sold Agency Revolution, I had the opportunity to really think deeply and reflect deeply and take some time off and ask myself, what do I want to do now? I'm too young to retire. I love what I do. I definitely have some insights that I believe I need to share, and so I chose to work with a very small number, a very few private clients, and to guide them in an intimate way on their growth plan. And because I made that choice, I realized that I have thousands of contacts and friends who are unable to join my private client group. And so I want to share with them my insights and observations. And so that's exactly what I'm doing in this report. It's an opportunity for me to share some of my insights, and some of you may want to reach out to me, and you might want to see whether or not there's an opportunity for you to work more closely with me. I'm not sure that there is, but we can certainly engage in that kind of conversation. And the second reason is because I've been in the industry for 25 years. This has been my career, this has been my community, and I feel about it probably the same way that you do about your career and your community. This industry's been good to me, this community's been good to me, and simply I feel absolutely compelled to give back. I want to give back, and this is an opportunity for me to do that. When I see agents observe or consume this information, I've seen them respond in 3 different ways. And these are those 3 ways, and you can pick which way works the best for you. Number 1 is complacency. In other words, you can bury your head in the sand. Obviously, that's a very bad idea, because when you pull your head out of the sand, the changes are even more intense than they were before. So I don't encourage that. The second one is to look at all of this change and feel anxiety. Well, that's not a good idea either, because when people feel anxiety, it poisons the well of their own agency. It kind of spreads fear and paralysis, and the agency falls farther and farther behind. The third option is to look at the change and realize that something needs to be done and act with urgency. And I'm going to ask you to take one really small action right now, which is simply download this report. And you'll see how easy it is to flip the switch, and you'll see how powerful these forces are and how you can harness them to use them in to your benefit and for your growth. So again, in this report, I analyze and assess the 4 most important, most powerful trends that I believe agents and brokers need to pay attention to now. Also, 2 that are on our watch list that we're all watching very closely that we may need to respond to soon. But then in addition to this, in part 2, I share with you my 9-step action plan that I can guarantee can get you the same kind of growth that my own private clients are realizing. So once again, I want to ask you, take 1 second, download the report, and I want to hear from you. Reach out to me, share your comments with me. I will encourage you. Of course, you don't have, you can, if you download it, you can choose not to read it. You can choose not to do anything with it, but obviously the one thing I want to encourage you to do, set some time aside and begin to read it immediately. If it resonates with you, if you believe that I'm telling the truth and that I have something to offer to you, share the link with the other members of your team or make copies of it and share it with your team and have a conversation about it. But in any case, at the very least, download the report, and if it resonates with you, share your comments with me. I want to thank you very much for listening to me, and I look forward to talking to you shortly.